4 days working week implemented with the same salary. So they reduced from 5 to 4 days with the same amount of money. Interesting concept. And also the concept, for example, that you can take as much vacation and holiday as you would like to have. And what do you think? Is that something what you would like to have, or is it something would you say, this is not gonna work because they will take too much days off then? And therefore it's an interesting concept, and often to some new things we are not really used to it, and therefore we are thinking, now we will I don't know, is that really something what I would like to have? And I experienced by myself, it's not easy that you can consume as much 3 days as you would like. And my approach was, I tracked it down till 25 days. This is the normal or the average working or the holiday consumption during 1 year, and this was it. And all of the other employees did nearly the same, and it's just giving you an aspect of freedom. And this is all what this now generation want to have: more freedom to decide by themselves what they want to do, and also how they implemented work. But here we are in the field of the next few slides. This should just give you an overview of what is going on in the human resource topic, and to take in consideration a lot of different aspects will taking place in the human resource. So let's adjust here the camera a little bit. So then next slide number 4. HR professionals are guardians and champions. What do I mean with guardians? I mean, whenever it comes to a change, the CEO maybe says, okay, we have to adapt here. We want to acquire here a new regions. For example, we would have also the Asian regions, the North American regions, or what else. This is not just on work tasks. This will be affected the whole company, because we have time zones, different time zones. We have to different cultures, etc. And therefore the HR department should involved in every topic which regards to the organizational behavior. And nowadays also to implement a new IT system, for example, will affect the whole culture. And it's not enough just to address some key users, and those key users will then implement it in their department. This is one step, but it needs much more power and brain power to implement it right in the culture. And I'm sure you experienced it by yourself, that some supervisors and leaders says, for example, now we are doing that because of this, and the whole stuff behind it neglected it because they doubted that it was the right decision, etc. And therefore, the human resource department, for example, could guard these steps up, and I would say portion it in a better way. So it conveyed it in a way that the organization can work with it, and also give them time to comprehend what is going on and to adapt to the situation. And to be precise here, it could be, for example, when you are in adapting here a new IT system. And I was involved in a lot of implementation of IT system, also from the technical part and also from the project management side. And it's necessary nearly the same time that you need to implement the IT system. You need the effort to with the staff, with the organization. It's really necessary for the whole satisfaction, and also for the whole success of the IT program. And when the rollout starts, and you just start with a campaign, this is the new IT system that won't work. This brings the whole environment in jeopardy. And therefore, HR professionals are guardians and champions, because they have to focus or have to be in the interface of each department. Or more likely all of the stuff. Yes. Do you mean that the interface to do the stuff? Of course, Ali. Yes, yes. This is also what I would like to say here. Yeah. Then let me see. What else do we have? Ensure the organization has the right talent to achieve its strategic goals. Ali asked a question: how can we identify the right talent? Yeah, this is an good question. The right talents are always, um, this is, I would say, the main question which every human resource specialist asks themselves. What is the right talent and how can we acquire them? And therefore, we're taking a close look in the maybe tomorrow when we come to the whole recruiting process. But to give you a short answer, you have to identify what do you need for the position, what could be beneficial that someone who works there will have, for example, maybe some bonus program that they can have 5 to 10% of their working time to work on their own projects for the company or for their own, really for their own projects, and to give them some degree of freedom inside the work. And this will be something which is unique for your company, and this will acquire, or this will maybe yeah, give some talents here also a good view. But also, how can we identify the right talent is if you have, and this is a human resource topic, and set up a talent management system. And this is not an IT program, this is a program and process from start to the end where you develop here some people. And with developing, I mean you have a status quo, you're setting goals, you're evaluating the goals, for example, to 3, 6, 9, and 12 months. And after this period, you make a status quo again and say, aha, we have some management by objectives. Afterwards, we see, okay, you over exceeded or you have just passed it, and then we could have the next step. So, Ali, for answering your question, to identify the right talents, this is a process inside the company where you can track all of the working steps, all of that what is contributed to the company, and then you could take the next steps to go further on. So, ensure the organization has the right talents to achieve its strategic goals is also here the answer to Ali's questions. And also develop people-related structures, policies, and procedures. What do you think? What do I mean with people-related structures? What do you mean with compliance and internal policy? Yeah, so compliances are, for example, that you should follow in a line some rules, that you are not be allowed to have private email conversation with your email account from the company, that you are not getting here some presents because this will be affected the whole company. You have to reject some presents, or you have to give them all of the company so that all of them have access, for example. Also, policies could be that, for example, a project team has only has to be involved 3 and more people, and it should be two of minimum of 2 different departments. And these are some internal policies. It's like a quality assurance and quality management system, and also what the company says it's necessary to do. And this is just a general question, because in a financial department, there have other internal policies. For example, um, to money laundering, etc. But in an IT department, for example, the system administration is only a few of them have the admin codes. The others are coding on a fewer level, or also that maybe some agile methods will be implemented, and also that, for example, it could be a compliance or internal policy that all of them have to make annual internal, I would say, assessments and tests so that they gain knowledge for specific quality topics. And this is really common, quality issues. But the main question here is, what do I mean with people-related structure? What do you think? What is the main difference here? So just waiting here to maybe some interaction. Do you have further examples? Further examples? Yes. With people-related structures, I give you one. Whenever you're setting up your quality management system, for example, when it comes to that people should following a line certain aspects, this is something which is written down. I have to do this or that. And also when it comes to job description, I have to work in the fixed time. We have maybe some flexible time. We have home office. These are just hard facts. But people-related structure a little bit means a little bit more in the way that we should also formulate these policies that we can interact with each other. And not only saying, okay, before I set up a new project, I have to fill out here, for example, a rough thesis. What is this project undertaking, until when? And to be here sure, I should also involve here another topic, another department, and this department gives me feedback on my point of view. And this is what I mean people related. We in HR should always focus that we are enable and empower the people to be in interactive with each other. And often those policies and those structures are making exactly the opposite. And I'm sure you have experienced here a lot of these parts, because when it comes to quality management system, it's often that we in the department are taking something really, really strict, and what the other department does is not in my concern, because it always affects my personal well-being. And this is such thinking, which of course is nowadays in our world uh, um, implemented, but we as in human resource, once again, I repeat myself because this is really important, should here focus on more people related. Make the interfaces to some departments, to other people, more, and reduce here the complexity. So, for example, when it comes to quality management, that means, of course, some certain aspects. But when it comes to IT-related topics, for example, we should always involve some key users, bringing them together, and with that feedback, we can roll out the next updates, for example. And then we have here ensure compliance with internal policies. Whenever it comes to external regulations or compliances, we have to merge them with internal policies, and therefore the HR department should be implemented, because when you just push some new regulations through a process, often it's just that we are following along the regulations, but we don't take care about how it should be implemented, because the managers and the CEO just won't get rid of some fines from not going according to the regulations. And this is also my experience from the financial industry. I worked here also as an IT auditor, an internal auditor, not only for IT, but strongly IT focused. And In each revision and in each audit, what I got back from the CEO was just put this regulation, just transform this regulation, because otherwise I got a fine, I have to pay money, and this is not what I want. And I don't care what and how it's implemented, just do the job, because this is the regulation and we have to do it anyway. But this anyway make a great change in how the culture will be developed in the company. If you just go through this regulation and say, this has to be done tomorrow, and maybe, and I'm also sure you have experienced this, you get an email, such and text, new regulations from the January 1st, 2023, point A, B, C, and so on and so on. And then please follow this along from today, and you got this, for example, today at the 9th of January, and everyone thinks, wow, with no preparation time, we have to implement it now. And you can see this is an so obviously topic. I think all of you would be agree to that. But when you be responsible for such things, then you have a lot of pressure, then you have to do a lot of things. And this is where the HR department comes into place, because the HR department could take here some points to take out the pressure and be responsible for the implementation process. For example, not for the content, just for the process. And this makes the difference in the culture, for example. So then let me see. Then next slide here. HRM stands for Human Resource Management. And this is culture, people, organization, workshops, talents, hiring. And it's definitely a process. And process is always with a starting point and with an end point, like a project. But it could start all over again. That means a process is something where the starting point is just an initial event, and then the process could be ongoing till the end of the company. And a process means also that it could be adapted. A project will have a fixed endpoint, have milestones, and is reduced or is just, I would say, for a short period of time, or also could be years, but it has a fixed endpoint. The process is ongoing and ongoing. And in this process, the human resource department, as we talked before, has a different kind of, I would say, responsibilities, and also has some strong focus on how they make certain work done. And culture, people, organization, workshop, talents, hiring, all of these aspects are responsible to human resource. And my question is, how could human resource, the management of them, could affect the culture? Do you have any clue how they can affect the culture? And culture is such an abstract topic, because what is culture? Culture is everything and nothing. Culture could be when you're going through the rooms, or when the coffee breaks, and the people, what they are talking about. Are they complaining about the company? And of course, complaining is an important point. In the best company, there is some complaining, and this is necessary. But is it always complaining? Is it always against some other people? Is it some chitty chatty? Or is it some, maybe some, hey, we are expecting here some new projects, some new topics. I'm really looking forward. It will be a rough time, and this or that. Ali says agree, and HRM is really important. Absolutely, absolutely, and it's getting more and more aware, because with this whole COVID crisis, energy crisis, and also with this war ongoing here with in the eastern region, we see that our supply chain has affected tremendously, and this supply chain is affecting also on the labor work. That means we are facing nowadays that we need human resource in nearly every sector. Let's take a closer look on the IT department. We have a lot of new IT specialists, but are they really educated, right? Is this amount, are they just coder? Are they just liking to have here all of these new Apple products, or are they really IT specific? Um, take a look on the financial, take a look on sales, marketing. In the marketing, you have to focus nowadays on so different kind of aspects, and in each of these topics nowadays, you have a tech component. A tech component, that means you have to know certain kind of programs. You have to know a little bit of programming, because you have to adapt here, like in the marketing, to make a campaign. You also have to make here some graphics, maybe some implementation on the website, and you have to have knowledge and regulations and laws, because you have to deal here with IT topics, with design topics, and there is so much going on. We have to adapt our own knowledge on a daily basis, and this is not easy, and therefore people and organizations is really necessary, that we have to develop that in the company. And also workshops. Workshops is something I also do it on a regular basis, because when you're setting up here, for example, a new project team, make a 2-hour workshop, that everyone get to know each other, what is their expectations of the new project, and what are the concerns, what are maybe some pitfalls, the next milestones, etc. And this gives the people time where they can get to know each other, and this is necessary. And good project teams making here some initial startups. Talents, we are discussed it and we'll discuss it later on. And also hiring. To have a good hiring process, and then to have a good selection process. These are two different aspects, and it's different and difficult with all of this digitalization. If we have here an interview, maybe you're only seeing the face. It's not really the best quality, maybe, and then it's really difficult to see the body language, or also to read the person. And therefore, the human resource department has to deal with digitalization, of course, and as well as other departments. So on. Yes, human resource, I think we can agree that is really important. My question is, why isn't the awareness so much in nowadays company that human resources really should be implemented, or have to be here an interface, a connection to nearly each of the departments? What do you think? What is the main concerns, maybe, or the main topic? Ali says, because nowadays nobody has time for things apart from the money. Yes. And each department has its own goals. For example, the marketing department has its time schedule to making here campaign after campaign. Also moderate all of these comments, for example, because also comments could be, yeah, when you are a company and have, for example, you're in the meat processing company, and I have to deal with that for last months, and the meat industry nowadays has also some challenging. And when you're having here on social media channel a lot of hate, you will be affected with a lot of hate, and this hate will be moderated during the comments. And now you have, for example, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and so on and so on. And you have here three social medias where you have to be constant on and have to moderate all the comments because you want to engage with the consumers and customers, but also there are a lot of typical internet trolls which gives you a hard time, and when you're not moderating these comments, it could be affected some legal issues, and therefore this takes time. And this is a process what you should be aware. So just saying to open a TikTok account, an Instagram account, and fetching out some, pushing out some videos and images are not enough. And this is the same with when it comes to what I asking before. Why do we think it's not so important? And as Ali said, because everyone has his own challenges. They are just taking a closer look on their own goals because we have to roll out the next IT program, the next patch. We have to make the financial statement to the end of the quarter. We have to make 10 more sales until the next week, etc. So to enable this, the human resource could take out of the normal, I would say, daily routine of the daily processes, take an eye off that, and then give them time for the real process. And this is always what I say, the human resource, of course, costs you money in what you're not really see the directly output. Because if you are hiring a salesperson, you have a direct output because you can see, okay, this new salesperson brings me, for example, 50 more sales in a week. And the human resource department is not really measurable in this way. And therefore, we have to have the awareness that we have, of course, here some contributing some good stuff, and we have to measure it in another way. For example, the fluctuation. How often the people are changing their working at a position inside the company unintentionally, because you could have here some job rotations, for example. But in my one of my first jobs in the financial industry, we have the academical fluctuation. It means people from 20 to 30 in their first jobs changed in an average under a year the company. And this is a key indicator, which is not really good, because when someone is not in the company for less than an hour, less than a year, this costs the company money because of the whole onboarding process, of the whole staffing process, and it costs because all of the knowledge gone away and have to be set up new. And this is not an optimal key metric. And therefore, the human resource could be measured, but with other, other key figures than only money. So before we go further on in the next hour and the next slide, I would like to take a 5-minute break, let fresh air into the room, stand up a little bit so that you can concentrate in the next hour then with me. So let me see. I will check here the timer for 5 minutes. And here we go. See you in 5 minutes again.
Canlı yayında oturum açtın.